Hey guys, what's up? It's Nicole. So, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell notification so that way you can get notified whenever I upload a video. Today I promised you guys a story time, and you know, for some reason I've been racking my brain all day of a story time I can share with you guys, but for some reason I keep going back to it's like this experience I had, and I want to share it with you guys. It's people will call it a spiritual experience in AA. Some people call it like a moment of clarity. It's like that, and it's what I'm just going to say is it's when I realized like I've got to change my life for real. And you would be surprised when it came, because it wasn't when a lot of people would think it would be. It wasn't when I was like sitting in treatment or, you know, about to lose my son. So it came over time. So I'm going to share that with you guys today. You guys know that I keep all my story times in a playlist. So if you're ever like on the channel and you need some entertainment or you just want to laugh, you can click on that playlist that says story times and you will see all the storytime videos that I've ever made. Also, there is a playlist with just meditations from when I upload in the morning and we do morning meditations. And then just a playlist of recovery talk, like live streams and stuff like that. So, yeah, today we're going to talk about my spiritual experience. And so let's go ahead and get started. So, I'm kind of going to start out... you remember the story I told you guys about the last time I got high. So this is going to kind of like start out where that ended. So the last time I got high was the day that my son went into DHS custody. And that's when the last time I used Roxy. Okay, so I went into detox, and mind you, like I went into detox, and my 1-year-old son, he was two days shy of being 1, had just got taken away from me. So I was absolutely distraught. That's not even a good enough word to describe it. Like my soul was crushed. I was hysterical. Like I could not believe that I'd let myself get that far down. I cannot believe that I had gotten that bad in my addiction that I was, you know, neglecting my child. And if you had asked me then if I was neglecting my child, I would have told you, no, I'm a good mom. But now when I look back on it, I realize all the mistakes that I made, and I realize that, you know, I wasn't present in my son's life. I wasn't being a good mother. There's no way anybody can be a good mom when they're under the influence of drugs and alcohol. It's just impossible, you know, and a lot of people might say differently, but when we're under the influence of drugs and alcohol, we're not all the way present. We're not there. And so I wasn't able to emotionally like interact with my son because I was checked out mentally. So, I went into detox, and I was sitting in detox, and I knew, I was like, I had been there before. I had been to detox before. I had been to 5 treatment centers before, and in every treatment center, in every detox, there would be this point where I would be sitting there, and I would know, like, okay, now you got to do what you got to do, girl, because you've been here before. You know what to do, which is I just had to mind my business, pay attention, do what they asked me to do, you know, and then I could get through the treatment. And that's how it always was for me when I went into rehab or treatment or prison. I knew that when I got there, I had to comply, and I didn't have a problem following directions, guys. Like I've never had a problem following the rules or listening to authority. Like I would do what they asked me to do, and so that's what I did. I went through, I think it was 5 or 6 days of detox, and on the 5th day, it was a Sunday, and they were going to release me, and I was like, no, you can't let me go because it's Sunday, and there's no treatment center for me to go into, and I needed to go straight into a rehab. So I asked them to please let me stay one more night. Yep, can you believe it? And this was a state-ran detox. So it wasn't like so nice and beautiful. It was just like a bed with some sheets on it and a white room. It was really just not the best place you wanted to be. So I stayed another night. They allowed me to stay, and that's how I stayed there. And I went straight into the treatment the next morning. On Monday morning, I went to an Oasis. So I remember getting to Oasis and exactly the same thing, just like it is at every treatment center. You know, they have to assess you and do paperwork, and you're basically in and out of offices all day on your first day. And then they send you to your little room and you can go to sleep for a while and get acclimated. At this treatment center, we had like cabins, and they were really nice, and I just had one roommate. And there was a big like pond on the property and trails, and it was a really nice treatment center. 4-star chef, and it's the only treatment center I've ever been to where I had insurance. Every other treatment center I had been to was state funded, and I had no insurance. So this was really nice. And the first night that I was there, I can remember, and I tell this in my story a lot when I tell my story, I can remember laying in bed and praying and begging God to give me peace. I was just like, peace be still, peace be still, peace be still. Because I could not close my eyes without seeing my son's face. And I had so much shame. And I was so angry at myself. And I hated myself so much for allowing myself to get to that point. Because at this time, I still thought I had some kind of control. At this time, I thought that it was all my fault, that I had let myself get to this point. I didn't realize that my disease was so powerful. And at this point in my, I wasn't aware of the addiction and how cunning, baffling, and powerful it was. I just thought that it was like a lack of self-control on my part. So I remember laying in the bed and just begging God to take this guilt and take this shame and let me sleep for the night. And I just fell asleep from exhaustion, you guys, from just praying, peace be still, peace be still. Every night for the next week, I would pray, peace be still, peace be still. And I would ask God, show me, please show me what I have to do. And I would see my son's face. And every time I closed my eyes, I mean, I was just ill, you guys. I was so angry with myself. And I thought that I was serious about being there until I figured out that my significant other was taking Xanax while I was in treatment. And I had the bright idea to have him bring me some up to the treatment center and drop them off. He had already smuggled them into me once, so I thought, why not again? And the whole time I was there, I was taking Xanax until I got caught. And when I got caught was the first time that anybody didn't let me slide with a warning. Didn't slap me on the wrist and just send me on my way. Like, I really got in trouble. They told my DHS caseworker, and they were like, if you don't get it together, we're going to terminate your rights. And at that time, I feel like that's when everything changed. That's when that moment of clarity, if you will, that experience with my higher power and my thinking shifted. That's when I knew I had to really start making changes. And that's when I made the decision. That's when I made the decision to become proactive in my recovery and to really take it seriously. They had to basically threaten to take my kid away for the rest of my life. And that, for some reason, at that moment, while I was in treatment, I mean, just low down, I was so sad. I was so disappointed in myself. I was so angry at myself. I was so ashamed. At that point, things changed. And I didn't realize it then. But now I look back and I think about it. And that's when everything shifted. And that's when, like, I changed I literally from night to day got serious overnight, and I have not looked back since. But it was that day and that shift that saved my life and got me to where I was like, I got to get help, and I got to do this for real. And I will never forget the man at the treatment center, David. He gave me this rock. It was a crystal, and he made me carry it around everywhere with me. And he said, I want you to use this. This is a mindfulness crystal. And anytime you think about saying anything, I want you to think, does this really need to be said? Is this helpful, harmful? Is this going to help somebody, you know? And so basically, I didn't say anything for 2 weeks because I couldn't think of anything to say that would help anybody. All I could think about was selfish, self-seeking shit. And that really helped me to change, you guys. But I wanted to share that little story with you. Yeah? Okay. If you're struggling and you haven't reached that point where you're ready to make a change or make a decision, hang on in there. It will happen eventually, because it always does. And it happened for me, and I've seen it happen for countless others. Just keep coming back. Keep trying to stay sober. Keep trying to work your recovery. And if you need anything, just message me. I'm always here to talk. Bye, guys.